So there we go. We're live. And I should say good afternoon, Mr. Malone. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Probably good evening to you, I would think. Probably late.
It's just gone midnight here in the UK, so it's now on Monday officially.
There you go.
So yes. As just tell everyone, the technology failed us, and we're using the phone call back into the old system. All right, let me bring up my questions. That might be useful. So yeah, writer, director, and Beatle, no less.
Yep, exactly.
So yeah, you played George Harrison in "I Want to Hold Your Hand."
Well, John thought of the name Beatles. He'll tell you about it now. Yeah, no, that was great fun for me. I was one of those kids who was glued to the television. February the 9th, 1964, Sunday night, the Ed Sullivan Show, and the Beatles came on, and the next day was a different world. It was just a different world, and so I became a huge Beatles fan, and all those many years later, weirdly, I wound up playing George Harrison on the Ed Sullivan Show. So that was pretty cool.
That is weird. Is that the first time you worked with Robert Zemeckis?
Yes, I think I sort of met him in passing a couple of times, but that was the first time I actually spent any time working with him.
Okay.
And of course, what's weird is later on I wound up shooting some second units for his Tales from the Crypt episode.
Right. Yeah, so you did 2 episodes of Tales of the Crypt. You've also done House on the Haunted Hill, which was part of the Zemeckis, Silver, and Hill, and everyone, all those producers.
Yeah. I don't know if the other producers were involved in Castle Entertainment. I think it was just Bob Zemeckis and Joel Silver. I could be wrong on
that. No, I think you are right, because I'm going crazy. Because it was Ghost. Oh, damn, what was it? The production company, Castle.
Yeah. Dark Castle.
Dark Castle. There you go. I should have seen the logo enough with 13 ghosts and Ghost Ship, and obviously your film. So yeah, I looked you up because I did a watch party of House on the Haunted Hill on my channel the other day, and we thoroughly enjoyed ourselves.
Well, good. Were you currently off your meds when you watched it?
There might have been some rum, but I did. Well, I watched it the night before to rewatch it because I've seen it a few times, and it's still quite scary. I will give you that. It still holds up.
Well, good. I tried to make it as scary as I could. The thing is that probably most people don't know. It started off as a straight horror picture, and about 2 weeks before shooting, I suddenly got script pages from the writers of the TV show Friends, and I'm like, wait a minute, what kind of movie are we making here? And it became clear to me that they really wanted Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. So
right.
I thought, okay, I can do that. I can try and make it funny and scary at the same time. It's always tricky, but yeah.
Well, yes, it's because Jeffrey Rush is in it, hamming it up wonderfully.
Yeah, he's great. I have nothing but great things to say about Jeffrey Rush. He was actually on the top of my list of people I wanted to be, and fortunately, he was on the top of Warner Brothers list as well. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because he's not going for Vincent Price, is he? He's going more. Is it John Waters?
That's what he told me. Yeah. I mean, which was fine. I really didn't. I never really thought of having a Vincent Price clone in there, but
sure.
But people sort of think that that's what he was doing, but no, he was actually doing John Waters.
And of course, you have the lovely Famke Janssen in it as well.
Yep. The Bond girl.
Yeah, she was enjoying herself, I think, too much, being the bad girl.
Yeah, she was great. She was great, and real good, solid actress.
it was it's very well made. Because I got someone in the chat just saying, Mr. Campbell from New Zealand saying, good evening, morning to Mr. Malone. Great remake compared to the later reimagines of movies we get nowadays.
Well, thank you very much. The thing about it was, when we set about making it, I saw the original movie. I was a fan of the original movie, and I thought, if we're going to do this, let's try and honor the original film as much as we can, and then add to it. And that was our approach to it. I had no point that I want to make something that would be making fun of the original in any way.
Sure. Yeah, 'cause the thing about the original is the acid pit that's very open.
Anybody could fall into that.
Exactly. There's nothing to stop anyone just tripping and going in that thing, but
especially in the dark.
Yeah,
we did away with the acid pit, but we did have a blood pit though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that looks sticky.
It was sticky. It was sticky in real life, like corn syrup or something.
That's the usual thing, isn't it? Corn syrup.
Yeah,
and red dye. It's not coming off easy.
No, it was a mess. And take two was always troublesome.
Sure. Oh yeah. Who's the one? Is it a stuntman that jumps in it? Isn't it?
Yeah, we had a stuntman for that. I wasn't going to have Tay Diggs. And Tay did a really good job too. We borrowed from Ridley Scott from Blade Runner for the glowing eyes.
The glowing eyes, yes.
Yeah, because that was all practical. I tried to do as much stuff practical as possible. People think it's loaded with CG, and it's not. There's only, I think there's only 2 shots in it that are CG. Everything else is practical.
Ah, yeah, because it's when the darkness comes out, isn't it? Is it more animated than actually?
Yeah, that's actually compositing by old school methods. It was done by the Skotek brothers, who, of course, you probably know from doing like Aliens and stuff like that. So they were. What I love about those guys, they're very sort of school and old school, effects stuff, but they also know modern effects as well. So they would pull whatever they needed from whatever discipline.
Yeah. Did they work on Creature with you?
They did, actually. In fact, they had aliens off of Creature, because Jim Cameron, I remember, came to one of the screenings of Creature, and he listed our security guard as well.
I see. Because was Aliens was filmed in the UK as well, so
yeah.
So they just come over here, did they?
But they had worked together. I think Jim Cameron and Skotek had worked together at Roger Corman's. I think that's how they knew each other.
Right. Of course. So yeah. Now you had nothing to do with the sequel to House on Haunted Hill, did you?
I didn't, except I gave him the idea. I was at lunch one. It was Steve Richards, who was Joel Silver's right-hand guy, and I said, I don't understand why you aren't doing a sequel. And the light went on. That's how that happened. But no, I didn't have anything to do with the sequel.
Yeah, it's not a bad follow-up. It just, I can't remember if it tells us what happened to the 2 survivors, Tay and the other lady at the end of the first film.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the only unfortunate thing about the sequel is that they shot it in Romania or something, and I don't think they had access to the original blueprints to the house or that kind of stuff. I think they could have, had they had more access to things, made the house look more like the original house, I think.
Yes, okay. Right, my Dutch friend, 101's Bronson, actually is more of a nemesis these days. We've been waiting to chat to someone that's actually worked with Klaus Kinski, because he's done some crazy film roles, so we're just wondering what he's like in real life.
Yeah. Klaus may well be one of the most despicable people ever that walked the planet.
I thought so.
To say he was a nightmare would be unkind to nightmare people.
Right.
Yeah, Klaus. Yeah, I only had him for a week, and
Okay.
and I think it was. I think by Tuesday, I think he came on a Monday, and I think by Tuesday I was trying to get a hold of his agent.
All right.
He couldn't ride roughshod on him, and then I think it was on Thursday. I went to the cameraman to let him know that I wasn't going nuts, and I turned about and I just started screaming at him and told him that if he didn't behave, I was going to go over to B&B Guns and come back. And he was a pussycat for the rest of the day and the day after that. And, but Klaus, I will say he lit up the screen when he's on camera. There's no question.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a nightmare. Yeah.
Oh dear. I suspected as much.
Yeah.
Now, are you a big fan of Ridley Scott's Alien?
I am. Look, I love Ridley. I think he's one of the best filmmakers that we've had in a long time. I really love his work. And I've had numerous occasions to talk with him and spend
nice.
time with him. And one of the great things was sort of starting out, he did a show called Someone to Watch Over Me, which most people haven't seen, but it's like a sort of crime.
Yeah, Tom Berenger's in it, isn't it? Late 80s one.
Yeah, Tom Berenger and Mimi Rogers.
That's it, Mimi.
But he invited me down to the set, and I learned a great deal from just being on the set and watching him. And I would ask him questions and stuff. And
sure.
He's very, very good to me. So later, I was at a Directors Guild. This was after I made House on Haunted Hill. I was at a Directors Guild dinner. And I happened to have a casting of one of the space jockeys, the miniature space jockeys, and I gave it to Ridley as a little gift, for his kindness. So.
Oh, nice.
He's just a great guy. He really is.
Yeah, still going strong though.
Yep.
So now it says in your bio on IMDb that you're the one who designed and sculpted the mask for Michael Myers in Halloween.
I did. We weren't actually making Michael Myers. We were making Captain Kirk.
Yes.
But yes, I sculpted the original Captain Kirk mask because it became the mask from Halloween. In fact, I was working at Don Post Studios at the time, and I remember when John Carpenter and people came in and they asked if we could make a Captain Kirk mask and paint the hair black and spray paint his face white. And I said, yeah, we can do that.
Nice. Because it's the one thing that keeps changing throughout all the Halloween films is the mask, isn't it?
Well, I think the problem with that is really the original mask. The molds only last so long. You can only pull so many castings out of them, and they were very popular as Captain Kirk, actually. And so, I think when they came to doing more of them, they were trying to get back to the original, but it's nearly impossible. The best thing that somebody could do if they wanted to do that would be do what I did originally, which was to get a light cast, which I think I got from Mike Westmore. I think gave it to me, and I think he was on Star Trek. And he gave me a casting of Bill Shatner's mask, and I made what they call a clay press out of that, and then used that as the basis for the sculpture.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's nice. Because I'm going back to Creature. So the original title was Titan Find.
Right.
Yeah. And now is it still public domain?
It's not public domain. People have a misconception about public domain.
Yeah.
No, I can for a fact, no movie after 1978 is going to be in the public domain unless associated with that movie is dead.
Oh, right. Okay.
Because the copyright laws changed in 1978, and before that you had to renew the copyright. After 1978, you didn't have to renew it anymore. It was just automatic that it was yours, which makes more sense. And then I think it's now, I don't know, the life of the author plus 70 years or something silly like that.
Okay.
You'd have to look it up, but it's something like that.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah, because was it you that released the DVD under the original title?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that makes sense.
Yeah, here's what happened. The original shooting title was Titan Find, and it got released, I think, in Europe and in the UK as Titan Find.
Right.
The US distributors wanted to go with Creature. They thought it was more, I guess, alien-like.
Yeah.
Which I was against, actually, but, that's not my call, so.
Well, yeah, Titan Find makes more sense to the film, doesn't it? Because
yeah.
Creature could just be anything.
I guess somebody in the U.S. distribution had a dirty mind, and they thought, oh, it meant Titan Fine.
I see that now.
So I think that's why they changed it.
Yes, because I saw that again recently. But yeah, the models and the spaceships and the space scenes are held up really well.
Well, like I said, they were done by the Scotex,
Yeah.
and they were very good at it by that time. And I actually had them work on House on Haunted Hill too. They did the roller coaster in House on Haunted Hill.
Right. Because speaking of that, because I was very disappointed to find out that the roller coaster that goes over Jeffrey Price's head is fake. When he says when he turns to the cameraman, and that's when it gets really scary. I think he says, and then the roller coaster zooms past him.
Well, he was standing in a place that had we let the roller coaster, it was actually composite, it would have taken him out, would have knocked him right off.
Yes.
Yeah. And, Jeffrey, wasn't the last shot of the film,
But yeah, I can imagine things going that fast past you would, knock you over. But
oh, yeah, because I rode that thing, and it was brutal. I mean, that was a brutal ride. And you can see, what's her name, the singer who's in it.
I'm drawing a blank myself. Hang on. Lisa Loeb?
What was that?
Lisa Loeb?
Yeah, Lisa Loeb. She was a doll, and she was such a good sport. She hated roller coasters.
Oh, right.
And she went on this, and it was like brutal. And after we did the first take, I looked at, she was like white as a sheet. And apparently one of the cameras had malfunctioned. And I said, I hate to say this. He says, okay. So,
right. Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just it sounded. There was a click, and I thought it was hung up. Because there is a. Where does the roller coaster that flies off the lines go? Because.
Well, we actually had. Actually, I had it all designed. It was supposed to be like a giant catch, like a big catch thing that would catch it as it went flying off. And recycle it and stuff like that. So, all that stuff was my idea. I basically wrote most of the scary stuff and Dick Beebe a lot of the character things. Although that's an oversimplification, but no, that was actually the roller coaster thing was the thing that I came up with because it was when I was working at Downhill Studios. We used to have to go to all these theme parks to sell our masks and stuff.
Okay.
And I thought, this ride just aren't scary enough. There should be the imminent threat of death. So I came up with a number of really crazy rides. That was one of them. And then there was the walk the plank ride, which was which
Yeah.
was a giant, supposed to be 200-foot tall funnel, and you walk the plank over it, and it's the giant black hole, and then at some point in the middle they tip the thing and you go flying down, and because of the way it's designed, it's like the slope is so gentle and starts curving towards
Okay.
the ground that it slows you down enough that you don't die. Maybe a heart attack.
Well, yes, because in the film it's what, there's 3 fake outs: the elevator, then the flying, the track breaks, then the other one goes off, and then you get past safely.
Yeah, the elevator. Yeah. Yeah.
I must admit, the elevator thing got me the first time I saw it. Very good.
Well, that also came because I always think about elevators. You know, all this comes from the fact that, like, I have this belief that nothing is ever built as well as people think it is. You know, and it's always become some guy who's like some worker somewhere at the end of the day, and he's going, God damn this bolt, I can't get this damn thing tight. They don't need this thing anyway, and throw it away. Which I think came true with this whole thing with the airplanes. I think, they don't need those 4 bolts.
Well, yeah, that's very true. Very recent stuff, isn't it?
So it's all true.
Because was it the roller coaster you filmed on was the Incredible Hulk one?
Yeah, which was kind of true because, you know, we shot the most of the movie was in a place called Santa Clarita, which is just Los Angeles, and they have a big theme park there called Six Flags, and they had a roller coaster there, which was a wooden one, which I always think the wooden ones are scarier, but they wouldn't let us film there because they didn't want the roller coaster being portrayed that way. So the only people who let us do it was another movie company, of course, which was Universal, and they would let us use the one down in Florida, so we had to go down there and shoot it, which was fine. It was like a little mini vacation, and then I also, while we were there, we shot the underwater stuff where what's his name, Jeffrey Rush is thrown into the tank and then sees the girl and stuff. We had a safety diver. This was a big thrill for me. We had the safety diver, and I said, what's your name? He says, Rick. I said, well, Rick what? He says, Rick Browning. I said, well, you're not in relation to Rico Browning, right? Yeah, I'm the son. I went, oh, God, that's the son of the creature from the Black Lagoon here. So,
fishing ladies out of the water.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, yes, because talking Incredible Hulk, you were a henchman in the TV movie.
You know, I wasn't.
Oh.
You know, I have been trying to find out where they got. I contacted IMDb. I said I would never do. I never did that. So
seem odd.
You know, yeah. Unless my memory is faulty, which of course is possible, I have no recollection of ever being in.
You have to go frame by frame.
Yeah.
Now, what about Forbidden Planet?
Yeah, Forbidden Planet. That's a great film.
And you are a well-known collector of memorabilia, apparently.
I am. I collect props from all kinds of films, but obviously the bulk of my collection is Forbidden Planet. And at one time, I pretty much owned all the props that were still in existence, with the exception of the big flying saucer. But I pretty much had everything else, including costumes and so forth. There were a few little pieces, but I had at one time just everything that was left. And my original plan was to have a little mini museum and stuff like that, but just never came to fruition. So, but I still have quite a lot of stuff on film.
So yeah, well, what's it about the film that you love so much? Is it Robbie the Robot, or this is everything?
Well, I think when I was a kid, it was Robbie the Robot, but as an adult, you know, I've come to realize it's probably the best science fiction premise that's ever been.
Okay.
I can't think of another film that has as good a premise. The whole thing with the Krell and the machine that could create matter, and I mean, that was just genius, you know, and it's a masterpiece. It really is, and it's kind of interesting because it's not really a film by one filmmaker. It's a film by, you know, the machine that was MGM at that time. And but also, if you think about it, that film, I think Walter Pidgeon once came up to Louis B.B. Barron and said, "You saved the film." I think, and in a lot of ways, I think that's true. If you think of Forbidden Planet without that score, it just wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, scores are very important.
I was fortunate to become good friends with B.B. Barron. Oh. In fact, I spoke at her eulogy, and she was just a wonderful person and really creative.
That's nice. Because it brings me to Holmes and Wollstone back in 1975.
Yeah, that was the thing. You know, I hadn't done much before that. The only thing I had done was a thing called Night Turkey, which was a takeoff on Night Stalker with a comedy. It was just some friends of mine got together and did a spoof on Night Stalker, and we. It was about a were-turkey that would attack people outside of Colonel Sanders. And we had a budget. We wanted to make the whole movie for $100, which we did. So
nice.
But in any case, after that, you know, I sort of had the yearning to make something, and I talked Don Post into making a Saturday morning kids show based on Sherlock Holmes, about a robot that thought he was Sherlock Holmes, which was a funny idea, but unfortunately none of it survived because other than, I think there's a clip on YouTube.
That's about it, yeah.
Behind the scenes. But yeah, it was shot, unfortunately we shot it on reel-to-reel videotape. So the master tapes we can't even play anymore. So, but it was fun. It was silly.
Yeah, it's fun. Is sometimes what's needed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because that also brings up Kolchak, Karl Kolchak, one of my favorites characters.
Yeah, Kolchak. You killed Karl.
Because that's the first one. Was it 50 years old now? Oh no, 51 years old now, I guess.
Oh,
the Night Stalker film.
Yeah, I loved that show when it was on. I mean, something that people don't understand is one of the reasons that show went away was the network didn't like the show and they kept preempting. So they basically lost their audience because when the show was supposed to be on, suddenly they'd have like some sports thing or something else, and or some award show or something, and so the audience never knew when the show was actually going to be on. And sadly, I feel very bad that before one day I called up. After we'd finished Night Turkey, I called up Universal Studios, and I wanted to show it to Darren McGavin because I thought he'd get a kick out of it, a giggle. And I called up his office, and I didn't expect him to answer the phone, but he answered the phone. And I told him about it, and he said, "Yeah, whatever." And then I found out later that very day they'd canceled the show. So I felt terrible, doing a show called Night Turkey. He probably thought, yeah, great.
Yeah, the one day it done. That's a shame. But yeah, getting to speak to Darren would be great.
Yeah.
Because I think it was probably late 80s when I first saw it as a teenager. It was on late night television.
Yeah.
I think they did the first film, Night Stalker. And then,
which is great. That's the biggest audience for a TV movie.
Yes, amazing, because I guess I know there wasn't that many channels, but still. But then, and then they must have played The Night Strangler the next week or something, and then they started playing the TV show. I only managed to catch random episodes, and then I had to wait till probably the 90s when a bootleg DVD was on eBay. Someone had copied all those episodes off TV onto a disc, and then it was the first time I saw all episodes and the films all together.
Yeah. And of course, they released it on Blu-ray.
Yes, so now it's pristine on Blu-ray now, yeah. But
yeah. Which is better than it ever looked on television, I can tell you.
Yes. Did you ever catch the remake?
I just didn't have the heart. I just couldn't get, here's the thing. To me, Darren McGavin was Kolchak, and I can't imagine anybody else playing that role.
Yeah, they missed the mark. They made it completely serious. They made him part of a team. They had a story that went for 10 episodes throughout the whole thing about his missing wife, and they just didn't have a clue of what the character was.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like anything, it'd be like doing the Avengers without Diana Rigg,
Yes. Lovely. So let's have a look. Now, you're credited as a writer. Is it the story or is it the writer for Universal Soldier: The Return?
Well, let me tell you the story. That was actually a script. That was actually a script called Vox, which was about the first thinking computer.
Right.
And there was no part in there for Jean-Claude Van Damme. It just wasn't. It was about a scientist and and his daughter, and it was really, I think, one of my best scripts. When I sold it, they suddenly said, "Oh, they were going to put Jean-Claude Van Damme." I don't know how to do that, and then they completely rewrote it. By the time it got to the screen, I don't think there's anything, maybe one line of dialogue of anything I wrote. I don't think it's not a sequence or a character or anything. So
that's a shame.
Yeah. But hey, it's I get checks, so that's good, I guess.
That's not bad. Yeah, I assumed as much that it wouldn't just be it's probably one of those. Yeah. Pitch it from a past. Let's just make a great sequel.
And the sad thing is, people, when you're a director or writer, people don't know the behind the scenes stuff. They go, "Oh, you wrote that? It's terrible." Well, no, it's not what I wrote. Okay, guys.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's a shame. Let's have a look. Because you also mentioned for the story of Supernova.
Yeah, well, again, the problem with Supernova, here's what happened with that. That was actually a script called Dead Star. And also, I think, a pretty cool script, one of my better scripts. And the problem is it kicked around Hollywood for about 10 years. And it got close to getting made. And by that time, everybody had read it. And it got mercifully knocked off, most notably by... what was the movie? Event Horizon.
Oh yeah.
And so it's actually, the original script was much closer to Event Horizon than it is to the movie that got made. Actually, I got a lovely note at one point from Francis Coppola saying that he was sorry that they didn't go back to the original screenplay. Again, this is what happens, so.
Yeah, because it was one of those films that had a lot of problems, didn't it? Multiple directors, editors, and people.
Yeah, well, right there, and they kept rewriting it. And here's the thing: we're dealing with a business where everyone has to justify their job, and nobody's ever willing to just read a script and go, "This is great, we should shoot it." That'll never happen. You'll never hear that happen. Because everybody's got to put their 2 cents and go, "Oh, I saved the movie." Anyway.
Yeah, damn shame. Let's have a look. So, your first film, Scared to Death. You had to sell the farm literally to to get it made.
Yeah, mortgage the house, rented out the dog, but actually that turned out, financially it turned out great. I actually made money off of that film, and it was in an era when the theaters, particularly drive-ins, needed product, so it did really well. And of course, Creature was a huge hit too.
Yeah.
Creature people don't realize how big a hit Creature was. It was really, I think it made #8 on the charts for that year.
Nice.
So and it had a per screen average, I think, like $5,400, which was like, in those days, that was like Star Wars. Kind of,
Yes.
You know, so it was pretty cool.
Ah, that's nice. Yeah, because
I should have been able to parlay that into something, but I just was too. I've never had any connections in Hollywood. I really haven't.
okay.
You have to know how to work all that stuff.
Yeah. Because you lost your lead actor for Scared to Death just before filming started.
Yeah, the night before filming.
Oh, night before.
Yeah, pouring rain, torrential rain, and I get a call, from our lead actor saying he wasn't going to be able to be in the film, so I had to scramble. Fortunately, I remember the guy I saw in a comedy club, and I thought he was really interesting, and I called him up, and he agreed to do it, and I think John Stinson, he did a great job.
Yeah, it's pretty good, because a monster movies, I guess, is because I don't think the poster keeps everything hidden, so you don't know what's happening. It's just some blood dripping down, isn't it? So
the poster wasn't particularly great, I think, but I guess it did the job. It did well. I mean, it made in the U.S. It made #16 on the charts, which was for a movie that cost $74,000. So I remember calling up the producer and going, "Do you know where I filmed this on the charts?" He went, "Is it on the charts?"
That's gonna be nice, especially your first film that you invest so much time and money in.
Yeah, well, it was just a labor of love. I just wanted to make anything at that point, and I thought, what can I bring to the table to make it something stand out? And I can make a monster. So we built the monster long before we started the film because I wanted to do shoot tests and see if it worked. It was a good monster before we did anything.
Yeah. Is it one of the first genetic engineering films? Because there's the prologue says it's fact.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's the first. Because I had a friend of mine who's a real science nerd. He and I had breakfast one morning, and I was trying to come up with an idea for what the monster was, and we bandied about different ideas, and somehow, genetic engineering came up. I said, well, that's a good way to make a monster.
That's great. Victims of the killer's kiss, they were scared to death.
That's hilarious. You remind me of that's the UK poster.
Yes, I think it is.
You got that from, yeah. I have to tell you, I was in England. I think I was doing Fear.com, or maybe it was Tales from the Crypt. I was doing the Crypt in England, and I went to a poster shop, and I'm leafing through posters, and I saw that Victim of the Killer's Kiss. Oh, that's a great poster. I said, wait a minute, that's mine. I looked at the posters. I want to see that movie.
It seems to have several different taglines. Is it alien or was it once human?
I don't think I saw that one.
No, it doesn't. You haven't really been scared until you've been scared to death.
There you go.
Yeah, some of these people get paid for these things.
I want the job of the guy who has to come up with names for like medicines. Did you ever think about Zimbabwe or systemic or whatever all these names? There's obviously some guy whose entire job is coming up with these goofy names for medical things.
Well, yeah, I guess you have to have a technical name and a advert-friendly name, don't they? Really?
Well, yeah, the technical name I get, but it's sort of the advert. So how do they even come up with this? they must like have a alphabet Vegematic or something.
Yeah, something that chops up words and then pull them out of a hat.
Yeah.
Do you see any of your films being remade, like Creature or Scared to Death?
I did get a call from Thailand, and they wanted to remake Parasomnia. So that's the only that was fairly recently. So I don't know if that's. No, I haven't actually, had that come up yet. Of course, I think the executive producer of Creature said he was interested in doing a remake. So I don't know if that'll happen or not.
Yeah.
I have nightmares, by the way, about me making my own movies. I think Hitchcock, one of the few people who has remade his own movies, but there's probably a few others.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But that seems nightmarish to me, is to visit the same planet.
A sequel, legacy sequel.
Yeah.
Because, speaking of Parasomnia, it's a bit late.
Yeah.
Got the great Patrick Kilpatrick in there, the Sandman.
Oh yeah.
He always plays a great bad guy. So, is he really nice in real life?
No, he's definitely a nice guy. I mean, Patrick, he was great fun. I had worked with him on a TV show before that called, what's the name? Was it Sleepwalkers?
Oh yeah, Sleepwalkers, yeah.
Yeah, it was the one with Naomi Watts. And so he was in that, and I thought he was great. And when it came time to do Parasomnia, I thought, Patrick could really handle this role. So he did a great job. Patrick, it's interesting. Some actors are like, they want to ad lib. They do a lot of ad libs. Patrick is the opposite. He just does what's in the script. He likes that sort of confidence of knowing, he's got the dialogue that's in the script. So
yeah.
They didn't, vary that very much. I'm pretty loose about that stuff.
Okay.
If an actor has a better idea, I'm all for it.
Oh, good. Yeah, because I know he's hidden most of the film, but yeah, once he's let loose as it is,
yeah,
you don't want to be anywhere near that character.
No. I've got a new a version that's going to be coming out. It's going to be the director's cut, which I think people will like a good deal. It takes care of some of the things that I was not happy with when the film first came out. So
that's cool.
Yeah, and we actually went back, and also some of the effects are different. I was not happy with the CG. I got rid of a lot of the CG. In fact, it's almost all gone, and I replaced it with miniatures and so forth. So it's cool.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, look for that. Because there's a lot of bloodletting in that one as well, isn't there? So people cut open everywhere.
People think when they see the beginning it's not going to have any blood in it, but it flows. It flows.
It does. A lot of people, unfortunately, do not make it.
Yeah. No. It's a horror film.
Because something I watched earlier was a Weird World. Was that intended to be a one-off, or is it intended to carry on the stories?
Well, look, people often ask me what the worst thing I've ever done, and I usually cite that as the worst thing I've ever made. It had a lot of problems. First of all, the script was set up so it had they had to set up 3 sets of characters, and so you had to tell 3 different stories before you even got into anything really happening. I said, that's deadly.
Yeah.
The way they wanted to do it. So that was bad. And I think also then my fault in it really was the style of the show, because I just come off Tales from the Crypt, so I gave kind of Tales from the Crypt spin, and I think that was really the wrong approach to that show. It should have been much more sort of futuristic and kind of cold, and I think it would have been a much better show. So, I apologize to the actors. It's my fault.
Yes, Ed O'Neill, who's the face of the TV movie, isn't he? But he's not in it that much. Sort of bookends.
No, they had it for a very limited time.
Yeah.
He's just come off of Married with Children. He's a big star, and so yeah. Usually they don't have them for very long, but there's a lot of the cast I really like a lot. I had what's his name from Twin Peaks.
Dana Ashbrook.
Dana Ashbrook, right? And then the girl who played, she was like a sort of a femme fatale out of that. She looked very much like Lauren Bacall. I thought she really had like a Betty Bacall quality to her, and she should have been, I hope I wasn't the hindrance to her.
Sure not. Yeah, because she has the hair in front of her side of her face, and I can see that. So did Ed O'Neill wear a bald cap, or did he shave his head?
I believe he's bald cap, as I recall. Yeah.
Because I was going to say, if he's doing other stuff at the same time, it's tricky, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I think he was wearing a bald cap.
So yeah, like you said, you did was it 2 episodes of Tales of the Crypt?
Yeah, I did two Tales from the Crypt and the Perversions of Science, which was the science fiction spin-off.
Ah, yes. Because
and the second Crypt, of course, was done at Ealing Studios in England.
Oh, nice. So I guess you've been here a few times then.
I have. I've been there. I love England. I've been there a number of times, and I have to tell you a funny story about Ealing Studios. First I was very impressed to be there because it's like where they shot like the Man in the White Suit and all those films, but when you go through the gate, there was of course a guard at the gate, and I'd drive there every day, and the entire time I'd been there, which is I think I was there for like a month, but every day the guard would go, "Yes, sir, and who are you going to see?" I'm a director. My name is William Malone. And I was just here yesterday. Okay.
Still might be someone different today.
Yeah, so I don't know. He needed a new pair of glasses or something. Or maybe he had a short-term memory problem.
Yeah, not the best security guard, is it?
Yeah, but it was great fun shooting there. We had this crypt set in the graveyard. And when I was standing there, I was thinking, my God, it's like I'm doing a Hammer song. This is so good,
Yeah.
And the art department came up to me and said, "Oh, this door to the crypt is 400 years old." I said, "Thank God, only in England would you get this." And and I remember the assistant director would come up to me and go, "All right, God, what next?" And I go, "Oh my God, this is like."
Did you get to travel around England much, or did you stay close to London?
Well, doing that, I spent most of the time in London. The only time when I got to travel at all was when I was doing Fear.com. I went to, you probably wouldn't know who this is, I went to Hooper, the coach building company Hooper.
Ah, okay.
Who built bodies for Rolls-Royce, and that was like a big dream of mine to see that in action. And then I visited the Rolls-Royce factory. That was fun. So.
Did you get to pick your own one up?
No. Problem is that all the cars that they make were the cars they built like 30 years earlier.
Yeah.
But it was great fun seeing it.
That's right. Because, speaking of Fear.com, you've worked with Udo Kier, who's in pretty much everywhere in the last 50 years, isn't he? Yeah,
no, I loved Udo. He was very funny. initially didn't want to do that part in Fear.com, and I understand why, because he didn't have a lot of dialogue. But I said, look, Udo, you start the movie off, you set the entire tone for the movie, you know. And I said, I really want you to do it. So he agreed to do it. And I remember I asked him about, I love this comment, I asked him, he did a movie called The Story of O, you know, and he goes, yes, that was so beautiful, Dennis. I'll have to use that myself.
He's still got the lovely eyes now, hasn't he? Right, because also you worked with, was it Jeffrey Combs at least 3 times?
Oh yeah, well I first met Jeffrey. Of course, I had seen him working with my friend Stuart Gordon on Reanimator.
Okay.
And I knew his work. I had never met him at that point, but when I was doing the Tales from the Crypt episode, the Perversions of Science, actually, his name showed up on a list. And I said, no, I got to have Jeffrey Combs. So during that shoot, we became really close friends, and so then I had him be in House on Haunted Hill, and everyone thinks he's like the star of House on Haunted Hill, and he's really not very much of it, but you know, his performance and what he does in the film is so memorable.
It is, yes.
And then of course I had him on Fear.com play a detective, and then again, of course, in Paris Zombie, I had him play a detective. You know, I think he likes working with me because I don't make him play the mad scientist.
Yeah, it's total role reversal for him.
Yeah.
So when you film stuff like Freddy's Nightmares, do you film the bits with Robert Englund, or is it just the main story that you get to film?
Well, when I was doing it, they didn't have anybody to shoot some of that stuff, so I would literally set up a shot on the stage for the show, and then I'd have to run to another stage and shoot Robert Englund stuff. And, you know, but it was great fun, because that was the only time I saw Robert, because he was never in any of my episodes.
Yeah.
But he was great fun, and I had him actually wish my daughter a happy 16th birthday, and he gave her a Freddie appropriate wish, which was great. Too bad you never hit 16 or 17, bitch, or something like that. It was pretty good.
Oh, that'd be fun. Right, so yeah, you've also done one of the TV shows I used to watch back in the day, Dream On. That was always a fun show. That was.
Yeah, that was fun doing it. You know, my friend John Landis was the executive producer on it, and he had me come and do an episode or two or something. I think I did just one. I don't know, but that was fun to do. It was a fun show, and yeah, good cast.
Yeah, it was one of those late night comedies we used to get over here from America.
Oh yeah.
Let's have a look. Then you got your one episode of Masters of Horror, the Fair-Headed Child.
Yeah.
Nice. You got Laurie Petty in that one.
I did actually. What had happened is I had originally cast Alice Creed.
Ah, yes.
Who I was desperate to work with, and but she was being held over on, I think it was, what was the movie that, I think it was the Silent Hill. And they were holding her over, so I couldn't get her. And then I thought, well, who else would I like to work with? And of course, opposite end of the spectrum, I mean, there's Lori Petty. So I thought, Tank Girl, gotta have her. So she came on. She did great, and I really was happy she came on and did it. And then the other cast members were mostly from Canada, except for Lindsay Pulsifer, who I think is from Los Angeles, or she was from San Francisco or something. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Well, that's all my questions answered. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you having me on your show, and I hope everybody is having a good time and is enjoying some scary movies.
Yes. Have you got anything coming up?
Well, I'm working on a few things, which I don't like talking about because it always puts a curse on them.
Yes. I've heard of this jinx, yes.
But yes, I've got things that are in the works, and we'll see how it goes.
All right. We'll look out for them.
Thank you so much, and all the best to your audience out there, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks again.
Take care.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oops. There we go. Well, thanks for everyone that joined me. Especially you, Jeff. Another late night for everyone. So yeah, unfortunately there were technical issues with StreamYard. But we got there in the end. Let me just turn everything off and then I will get to bed. Thank you. You have a good one now, Nemesis, and you're an hour ahead of me. And so yes, see everyone hopefully tomorrow for the Neil Marshall interview. That's 3 in a row for me. So I'm off to bed. Take care, everyone. Good night.